Greetings, humans! Zbot4096 here, back again mid-cycle with the review of Predator Badlands, which is opening today, November 6, 2025. On top of that, we are issuing a Galactic PSA. It's official, Predator movies are actually good again. Now, as for how good and how this is happening, let's jump into it. On the how good part of it, we are measuring against the original Predator film, directed by John McTiernan and starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, which was engrossing and effective at setting up an elite macho 80s squad and then literally cutting them down to size. It echoed Alien in terms of credible characters reacting credibly to the unknown. However, every subsequent film became steadily worse, including the inevitable crossover with the Alien franchise, until Dan Trachtenberg's film, Prey. This film lowered the stakes to tell less of a space opera story and more of a focused character study, in many ways echoing the original film, highlighting a complex culture with their own elite fighting ability. The story was again credible in ways the franchise had lost track of, making it the second great Predator film following the original decades ago. Now, Trachtenberg followed that up with an animated film, Predator Killer of Killers, which was an anthology of 3 separate stories. This was also surprisingly good for much of the same reasons. Now, these 2 films were released on streaming platform Hulu, as if the studio was testing the waters to see if they could bring back the franchise. The results must have been good, because they gave him a third Predator film, a large budget, and a theatrical release. So, what happens in this film? The shape of the plot is again a narrow focus. At the same time, the story does 2 things to break from the past. For one, a key element of the perspective changes. Since we don't watch trailers, we were genuinely brought into this conceit by the course of the film itself. So we aren't going to give any more details so that you can enjoy the same experience. The other surprise is that the film adds a third genre to the mix. While the Predator films already took the Aliens formula of mixing action and horror, this one adds a specific character growth story. Again, we won't say it out loud since it's wonderful to see it reveal organically in the film. Although, to be fair, this theme is telegraphed in a number of ways as we go along. However, the film earns the tokens to cash in a handful of tropes by actually presenting a credible Predator world. The Predators themselves are increasingly illuminated in the Trachtenberg films, earning their first species identification on film, as far as we can recall from RAM. We are also treated to a rich and credible biome on an alien world, giving us a sense of diversity and realism that we didn't get from any of the Alien sequels, other than Aliens, or the Alien TV show, and was alas too on the nose in the Avatar films with their obvious Earth creature analogues. Instead, this film feels more evolved, or at least forked off from Earth life at a much earlier point, at least. So, it presents as, dare we say it, creative, and from first-hand knowledge, very good guesses as to what an alien biome would actually be like. We like the organic design of the Predator's technology and spaceships. The main ship we see in this film appears to be a new design, reminiscent of Earth's extinct trilobite and the derelict ship from Alien. The studio's marketing department seems to know they have a winner there, since this is what made the popcorn bucket a choice for them. Very interesting, you see. We, of course, didn't get any popcorn because we don't eat food. But let's get back on track. Now, for some reason, the predators themselves are a bit odd. They've become more human-like than aliens since the first film. And at first, from the literal first foot we see, we thought that the rubbery design was an homage to the original film, having limited choices on how to present an alien on screen. However, as the film progresses, it's clear they are using a blend of CGI to do some of the facial expressions. Perhaps as a backlash against CGI, they limited its use to things that were simply too fake looking to present otherwise. But that's not an inherent flaw of CGI, but rather some challenging early steps from artists struggling to create a sense of presence for their fanciful creations. As much as we liked the biome, we think the alien world could have used a bit more creativity interspersed with the ordinary mix of grass, trees, streams, typical Earth stuff, to present a much more diverse alien topography and chemistry, but we may be expecting too much there. At the same time, there is one aspect of the biome that breaks immersion, since it defies all physics and biology to do what it does as quickly as it does. That one thing seems minor in isolation, but against the backdrop of doing so well up to that point, it's a disappointment. On that note, let's get back to the strangely human-like predators. Their voices sound much more human now, and like Alien Earth, they are frequently filmed in broad daylight, with a body kinesiology exactly like human beings, so that the impact is that they look like humans in rubber suits. It's not quite at the level of the monster from 1958's It, the Terror Beyond Space, who looks like the stuntman is wearing a large foam rubber floor mat stapled together. Perhaps that is all deliberate to make the complex characterization they're going for resonate more effectively with the human audience. So we'll pause judgment there and unpack the characterizations themselves. The main predator in the film, Dek, has to do a lot more as a character than ever before due to how much more presence he has in the story. As played by newcomer Demetrius Schuster Koloamantangi, Dek is surprisingly engaging. The brutality is there, as it has to be, but also Schuster Koloamatangi does an excellent job of acting through the rubber suit, actually making us laugh with a very subtle shrug in one scene. Now, there is humor in this film, but it's primarily from the Earth characters who appear. There is some responsiveness from the Galactic characters, but they're not doing Marvel-style quirky humor, which would take you out of the story. Instead, since the Earth characters are from the Alien franchise representation of human advancement, they mostly have a rigid hollowness to them that fits where the story's going. They sometimes overuse the nostalgia button there, but not quite to the extent of, say, Alien Romulus. There is, however, a level of complexity to the main predator that may seem too different. This is where the relatability and understanding of Dek is so new in this film that it could stand out too far from the previous movies. However, the Predator has always been presented as an intelligent being. They are a spacefaring race with a specific code of behavior. It might be a bit of a stereotype for carnivorous galactizans, but we appreciate the effort to go beyond the one-note attacker. And we appreciate that the filmmakers are taking that intelligence characteristic from the original and doing something other than purely killing with it. The other set of intelligent behaviors are keyed off by the Earth character, Thea, played by Elle Fanning. Now, she's been in dozens of films, none of which we've seen, with the exception of her voice performance as May, the 4-year-old girl in the English dubbed version of My Neighbor Totoro. And we absolutely adored her in that. May has certainly grown up since then, and wonderfully, she is presented as a complex being as well. Both Dec and Thea are interesting to watch on screen, and both affect each other, first in the obvious ways, and then in a more impactful and relevant way that somewhat sneaks up on us despite the formula that's quite recognizable in retrospect. And yet, that's not quite what the theme of the film is. Instead, the theme is stated very late in the film, but rings true for everything we've been shown to this point. And that theme is, you don't have to take the exact path laid out for you. You can develop your own meaning for your life. This is both a timeless and very timely message. Characters in this film learn about themselves through interaction with outsiders to their group. Intelligent beings across the galaxy can become entrenched in their thinking, but can find their way back to their true selves by exposure to others, especially when those others exhibit deeply valued traits such as loyalty, resourcefulness, and fairness. This is all well presented, gradual, not obvious, and effective. And so, for presenting a mostly credible expansion of the world of the Predator, while mostly working through the mashup of genres, but delivering a message of authenticity and growth, we give Predator Badlands our high rating. And so concludes this human version of our review. If you have feedback on it, please write in your own comments so that we can upload the Galactic version to Zoggplex. You can expect more discussions and reviews of theatrical movies, streaming shows, and 4K home video releases as we continue to engage with your human rectangular entertainment. So, don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you can, please comment so that we can continue to have the human voice reflected in the cosmos. Until next time, farewell, humans.